Guys I've ever met, huge inspiration. You know, the advice he gave me made me like $50,000 in 1 hour. A super fucking human, he just doesn't give up, he doesn't quit. He's one of the most well-known salespeople out there, sales trainers in the fucking country. Very impressive guy. Give it up for my guy, Max Jimenez, baby!
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Closers Lab. I'm Max Jimenez, and thank you guys for being on the live today. If this is your first time, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here today. Looking forward to the show today. I'm gonna do a breakdown of our cold call script for our virtual assistants. I wanted to show you guys this for a while, so I'm gonna let a couple more people jump on. If you don't mind, tell me in the comment section, what market are you in? What do you do? Are you wholesaling, flipping? What's going on right now? So go ahead and let me know in the comment section where you're tuning in from while we let a couple more people come in. But welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Closers Lab. I really appreciate every single one of you. I want to remind you that this is a live show. So what that means is that you can, don't forget to ask your questions, leave your comments. Last week's show was very impressive. I appreciate every single one of you. You guys rocked and roll. You guys brought it with the questions. You guys all participated. It was really good. One thing I love is not just to talk at you, but I love for you to ask Q&A. I'm a big fan. Network in the chats. If you are Javier says, happy 5th of July, Max. Hey, you too, brother. How's it going? Anthony, what's good from Chai, new wholesaler? Yep, Anthony, I see you, bro. I see you. Facebook user, I don't know why it doesn't have your name on here, but just coming to say hello, about to jump on an appointment call. I love it. I love appointment calls. So go ahead and get that, lock that up, man. Give us an update on that. So Javier says, just getting started in wholesaling in Los Angeles. Man, nice, beautiful. We'll miss this one, but thanks for the help every single time. You're welcome. So yeah, guys, for those of you just tuning in, welcome. Let me know where you're tuning in from, what market you're in. Are you wholesaling specifically? Drop some info about yourself, so that way people who are tuning in. The other thing too is share this live with someone. I think today's going to be very, very great, very special. Now, I'm going to let a couple more jump in before I jump on what I want to talk about today. Is that I want to break down the cold call script for the virtual assistants. A very simple, less than 1 page cold call script that I've used with my virtual assistants. So I know there might be some of you that are not that might not have virtual assistant, but eventually you will. So you want to have a script for them that's simplified, and that's the thing I want to talk to you about today. So Marco, what's going on, brother? Good morning to you too. What's up, Max? Coming from Nebraska, I believe that's Brandon. I want to say, I don't remember. It says Facebook user, I don't know why. Marco says Houston and wholesaling. Awesome. If you know someone that would benefit from this, someone that you think will, someone that you might know that needs help, that's basically that needs help in their business, send them this live right now. Share this with someone that you think might benefit from it, so they can come and join us. Because today I want to break down so you guys can see how simple it is. I'm going to break down our cold call script that we use with our virtual assistants, something that I'm using currently right now. As you guys may know, I've been in a little bit of a transition this last month. Still doing deals, but this week I'm going full force. I got a few cold callers that are going to start. So this is a script that I'm going to have them use. And so bring your questions, your comments, what you guys think. And then once we get past this, I want to see if we can make some calls. If you guys don't have a lot of questions, I want to answer your questions, because I believe that there's a lot going on right now. I talked about this on the Closers Lab private Facebook group about things that are going on. If you're not part of that Facebook group, shoot me a DM. I went live on Saturday actually, and I talked a little bit about what's going on. HR Realty, what's up, bro? Isaac, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Anthony says cash for keys. Max, have you done cash for keys? Have you experienced a situation where the tenant doesn't want to move out? I have 2 leads where the sellers cannot get the tenants out. Let's see. He's got a follow-up comment. I really don't feel comfortable because it could be a dangerous situation. In Chicago, you have to be real because how you deal with people, especially in some troubled neighborhoods. Yeah, I mean, it's always a challenge, man. I think that's hopefully whenever you run into a situation like that, right, where you have tenants in place and you're buying a property where there are tenants in place, my number one goal is to figure out the solution for this problem. But here's the thing: because you're exhausting resources and because you're using everything as possible that you can think of to make this deal work, you got to get it at a deeper discount, and that's a conversation that you need to have with the sellers, right? For now, it sounds like you already got it locked up, Anthony, but for me, if I know I'm going to go into a situation where we're going to need probate, where we're going to need tenants, we're going to buy it with tenants in place, then I need to get I have to get it at the price that I want it in order for all this work to make sense. If it's a tight deal and I got to do all this, I'm not even going to touch it, right? Especially in a situation when you have a tenant. Chicago is a very tenant friendly state market, so that's the downside with it. So just be careful when you get into these deals. I mean, as far as what you can do, like what strategies you can use, Anthony, I would figure out. Sometimes there isn't no strategies, guys. I don't have answers for everything. In this situation with the seller, with the tenants not wanting to get out, um you might have to just go through an eviction. You might have to, one thing that we do, however, let me add this in here. When we contract a property, we know there's tenants there. Once we know it's a deal, we contract it. We also, what we do is we send out a notice to vacate if they're not in a lease. I know some states are different, but here in Arizona, that's what we do. And the seller has to help us out with this, right? We're going to guide the seller through the situation, but they need to help us out because we can't technically give them an eviction because we're not the owners of the property yet. But we agree with the seller up front before we sign the agreement. Look, once we sign the agreement, we're also going to send you we're going to send you a document that gives the tenants 30 days to get out, right? Unless there's a holdback, unless there's an agreement that they can stay after closing. But for the most part, we're doing all that up front. But there's sometimes where tenants don't want to get out, and you're going to have to do the full eviction. There's definitely no way around it when it comes to those situations. We had one that before I started doing this, before I started doing this, where the calls and all that, we had one that we locked up, and it's going to be going on probably 8 months. And it's a different situation, but we bought it with the tenants. We paid $210,000 for it, but it's worked like 340, 350. So it's a great deal, right? No matter what. And this is what I was saying about this is make sure that when you're getting in these situations where you are dealing with tenants, where you are dealing with situations like that, whatever situation is, probate, you got assist and all that, make sure that you're getting a good deal. So Ken, what's going on, bro? How you doing? Thank you for joining me. Amador, what's up, bro? Thank you for joining me. Today, guys, I want to break down, because a lot of you, what's going to happen is, even though let's say that you're doing cold calling on your own, today I want to break down and show you my cold call script, which is the one I use with my VAs. Really simple. It's not that complicated, guys. One thing that you guys got to understand: when you hire a virtual assistant, you're not looking for, especially to be a cold caller. Don't be looking for quality, right? Now, why do I say that? Because what's going to happen is that if you only look for quality like you do for an acquisition, guys, like you do for a lead manager, the thing that could happen is that you're going to be disappointed and you're going to be changing virtual assistants every single time. My thing with the VA cold caller, with the virtual assistant or virtual cold caller, I want them to get results. I want them to have KPIs, key performing indicators, right? You want them to do X amount of dials per day. You want them to do it. You want them to have a percentage of those dials be contacts, and then a percentage of those contacts to be conversations, and then conversations to be leads. I know what I can tell you is our cold callers, they were averaging about 2 to 3 leads per day. Leads are 2 to 3 leads converted into prospects that raise their hand to want to have them sell, right? And I'm going to show you the script that we were using to actually do that. How many of you guys want to see that script, or do you guys want to just do calls? Let me know, because I think it's very important that you understand as you grow in your career, you don't want to continue to cold call. I know some of you guys are still cold calling. Hey, you might be even able to use this script, right? You maybe modify it. You may be just modify some of the things that are on here. But what I can tell you is that you don't want to. Your number one objective with the cold caller is not quality. You're gonna get disappointed. I believe me. I've trained my own cold callers. I've hired multiple companies to be cold callers, and what I found out at the end, all I wanted was results, and I wanted them to generate activity, which was leads, right? So this is why I'm telling you is that that's why when I know most people get caught up in that. Who is the best cold calling company? Where can I hire the best cold callers? Now, what I would put together with best would be results, right? Now, if you want to combine best with results, like saying, hey, where can I hire where can I hire a cold caller that will give me the best results? Now that's different, right? Because now you're looking for somebody that's going to produce. And that's what you want, production from your cold caller. So, Cesar, what's going on, bro? Good to see you on here. Anthony says, tenant was evicted. They broke back in and got a fake lease. It's crazy. Man, that's crazy, bro. I know I heard some stories about just some tenants. We've had some stories with tenants, and it's really crazy, man. Some of the things that you get to see in our industry. So, Anthony said, I did not know you went live on Facebook on Saturday. Sorry, I missed it. Yeah, I went live in our private Facebook group. It's really good. It's still up, so that way, if you want to go see it, you can. Anthony said, yes, let's see the script. Okay, perfect. William says, let me see the script, Max. Cool. So I'm going to get into that. Let me know if you guys have questions while I'm going through this. I don't want to rush through it. I want to answer all your questions. I want to make sure that you understand the what is called the purpose of the script and why I have it written out. I want to answer all your questions. So let me see here. Let me pull this up so I can show it to you guys. Okay. So can you guys see that? Okay. Drop a yes if you guys can see that. Okay. If you guys can see the script, drop some thumbs up, fire emojis. Let me know if you can see that. That way I can continue with the walkthrough of the script. All right. Doesn't look like we have much response on there. Okay, perfect. Anthony said yes, he can see it. Okay, so it looks like we can all see it. So the big thing with the script, Cesar said yes as well too. He can see it. Awesome, perfect. So the big thing with the script, it's got to be very, very, very simple. Look at the green and red. Look at all the green and red, right? Green means go, red means stop, right? Or green means positive, and then red means negative. So that's how much Simplify had it. And you guys have heard me say some of this stuff on when I cold call here. Like you're gonna see the actual introduction and the pitch is the same for my cold callers as it is that I do, right? So right away you can see where it says hello, and then they're gonna say the seller name. I'm a big believer in if they have the data, they shouldn't be asking, may I speak with? I'm trying to reach for hey, I was looking for, or hey, is this Mr. Seller? Like if you have the information in front of you guys, we have that information already, and so do our cold callers. I just think saying hello, Cesar, hello, Anthony, hello, William, just gives you a higher connection rate, because you're pattern interrupting. You're assuming that you have a relationship with this individual. And it's gonna get you past that 10-15 second mark, which is very crucial in the beginning of a conversation, right? So we need to make sure that you have the information. Now there's going to be, if the name on file doesn't answer, right? Like if they say, hey, this is not the what is it called? This is not the person, then obviously that's different. Or let's say that it's a guy's name, and then a female counterpart answers, then obviously you're not going to say hello, John, right? You're not going to call her John. Maybe her name is John. I don't know. It was 2022, but you're not going to call that person John because you don't know. So you're going to say, hello, I probably have the wrong number. I'm calling for John. And then we're going to wait to see, yes, what's this about, right? Really simple. That's all they say. So if we have the information, we're going to say, we're definitely going to get in the intro and say, hello, right? We're going to say, hello, John. And then we're going, what's the next, if they say yes, who's this? What's the next thing is go to pitch, right? The pitch is really simple. You guys have heard me actually say this. Not sure if hey, John, not sure if you can help me. We've been trying to reach the owner of 123 Main Street. So there's going to be two responses. And this is, again, I got go to negative A or positive A. These instructions are for, these instructions have to be really simplified. Let me get on the screen here for your VA, right? You got to let them know, okay, if they say this, go to step A, go to step B. You don't want them thinking too much. You don't want them making stuff up. You want them to, make sure that they're making quick decisions, that they don't get caught up in anything unnecessary conversation. That's the last thing you want. A script is only for one sole purpose, right? And I'm going to tell you what it is. A script is so that way you can navigate the conversation. Are you going to get off track a little bit? Yes, I've always said this. If you're going through, if you're going on a trip and you're you don't usually end up, for the most part, I'm not saying always, you don't always usually end up going directly to your destination. You do sightseeing, right? But guess what? Once you're sightseeing, you get back on track. You pop that the navigation system back on, and then you continue. Same thing with the script. Sellers are going to throw things to either your cold caller, yourself, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to have to, veer a little bit, but get back on track, right? Now, if they say, hey, if I say hello, John, right? We're going to go back up to our intro. If I say hello, John, and they tell me, hey, no one is here, the first objection is going to be, no one's here by that name, right? Or, or even if you say, hello, I'm probably have the wrong number, I'm calling for John. And if they say no one's here for that name, we don't want you thinking, we don't want the co-callers to be thinking too long. Right away, they need to have a rebuttal and say, oh, I see you. Do you have any relations, or you have no relations to 123 Main Street? Right. We want to know right away if this is somebody that has a relation to with the property. We don't just want to hang up, right? We don't just want to end the call. We want to take one more shot at it to see if there's anybody that has a relationship to that property. And then guess what, right? There's the two directions, right? Kind of, we were talking about the GPS. Yes, I do. So go to positive A, right? Which is which I'll show you guys, which is the pitch, by the way. Sorry, I think I got this mixed up. So let me scroll this down. Or no, I don't. Move to the next call, right? So if somebody tells the cold callers, hey, no, I don't have no relationship to that call. The one thing is you don't want the cold callers to be spending too much with somebody that they're not having a conversation with, right? You don't want them wasting time, because what happens is that when you give cold callers lists to call, the last thing you want is them spending too much time with people who don't want to raise their hand, right? It's for them, because I always say this. You guys heard me say this: is we are not in the convincing business; we're in the sifting business. Now, you take a cold caller, they're going to 10x that. Their job is to sift. Like they're the machine that dumps the what is it called? That basically washes out all the dirt off the gold. You're the guy that comes in and with the pan to make sure that what's glistening or what's glittering is actually real gold, right? They're the machine that's washing that's separating the dirt from the gold. And then what you're doing is you're the one that's going in to see if it's if it's actually gold or if it's just fool's gold, right? So let's get back to this. So then once if they say yes, once we say, hey, hello, John, if they say, yes, this is John, or if they say, why are you trying to reach them, right? Whatever the case may be, because usually you're going to get that objection quite a bit. Why are you trying to reach them? Or what's this about? Or how can I help you? And then my favorite question is, you guys have heard me this on cold calls, is, oh, so you're the owner, right? Really simple. So you are the owner of that property, right? You always want to verify it. Same thing with the cold callers. You want them to verify that they're actually talking to the owners, because a lot of times what happens is a lot of people will say, yes, this is the owner. And basically, they end up talking to somebody who's not. Now, two things can happen, right? Especially on the pitch, right? Hey, so if they say, hey, not sure if you can help me, we've been trying to reach the owner of 123 Main Street. And then they say, why are you trying to reach them? Again, like I said, we're going to ask them, so you are the owner. And so that way we understand that we're not just talking to anybody, right? We're not just talking to anyone. We want to make sure that we're talking to the actual owner. Any questions so far, guys? What do you guys' thoughts so far? Real simple. Guys, this is the thing, is you got to keep the script really simple for your cold callers. It cannot be complicated. You guys have seen, right? It's a quick pitch, a quick introduction, reason why you're calling. A lot of times when they're going to say, when they throw the objection, why are you trying to reach them? Why do you want to talk to them? Okay, so you're not the owner, or you are the owner. One of the two questions. It shouldn't be that hard. And then basically, if they say, hey, that's not my property, or you have the wrong number, then obviously we'll just say, hey, I apologize for that. Do you have any properties you might be considered selling? We want them to pitch that person, even if that person basically is not the owner of the specific property that you called on. Then you still want to ask them for that. So but let me know, guys, so far, what do you guys think so far? I know I got some questions coming in. I'm going to get to them right as soon as I'm done with because we're still in the pitch here. Once they verify that they're the owner, which is positive A, yeah, that's my property, or what's this about, right? Well, I'm calling you because we're looking to buy some properties in that neighborhood and wanted to know you would consider selling that one. Now, notice something on this script. These last three words, selling that one. Let me get back on here real quick. I want to tell you guys something about, we used to say, we want to know if you would consider selling your property. And we changed it to selling that one. What do you guys think that I did there? What did we take away? What did we take away from saying, hey, we were calling because we wanted to know if you would consider selling your property? Instead of say, hey, now we say, hey, we're calling because we wanted to know if you would consider selling that one. What do you think? What do you think we took away from there, right? Because I hear that a lot. I hear a lot of people when they're calling, hey, we're calling to see if you would consider an offer on your property there. Or, hey, we were calling to see if you would consider selling your property there. But now we switched it to, hey, we were calling to see if you would consider, selling that one, or an offer on that one. What do you think's happening there? I want to see some of you guys just comment. What's the big change in these three little words right there, right? Selling that one. Jose's got a good point. He says, it doesn't sound as personal. Hey, that's a really good point. Ken said, to see if they have other properties. That's a good point too. Anyone else? What do you think's happening there from changing it? Hey, we wanted to see if you would consider selling your property. Change it to, we want to see if you're selling that one. I'm gonna let a couple more people see what your guys' thought is. Why do you think we changed that? Jose, you're pretty close. I think you're close. I think you might hit it on the nail. But so what we did is, what we found out is that when we switch from, hey, selling your property, because what happens is you're going to what does it say? To be specific and initial with the seller, intentional with the seller. Here's what was happening. I'll let you guys know right now. When we were calling, we would say, hey, we want to know if you would consider selling your property. The emotional attachment, right, that comes with calling someone about selling their house, what would happen is the guard would go a lot higher. So what we did is, when we went from selling your property to considering selling that one, we took away the emotional aspect, the emotional attachment, right? We don't want them to hear selling your property. We want them to hear selling that one. We're detaching them from the property. So that way it's more just, it's less emotional for them when they're hearing, well, why would you want to buy my property, right? Even though, again, guys, they might say that, they might not, who knows? But that's why we did that. We took away, that's why I did that, is taking away selling your property to selling that one, because I wanted to take away the emotional aspect as much as possible. And it works. It works really well. And basically it works, because if I get a call and someone says, hey, I want to buy your house. Why you want to buy my house? Like, that's, to me, I'd rather hear, hey, I was calling because, are you selling that one? Would you consider selling that one? Well, and so it's a different conversation, right? I'm a big believer in taking away the emotional aspect of the conversation in any case, in any way, until I get to the point where I'm asking motivational questions. So, any question, guys, so far? Let me go back in here before I continue with the script. Let's see who we got. What questions do we have? Let's see. I want to use this script for me. Perfect. Yeah, like I said, guys, this script works. It's this is for a virtual assistants, but it also works for you. It's a very simple, very it cuts through the fat, it cuts through the nonsense. You're detaching yourself. And here's the thing, watch, you're gonna love what I have next, the outcome. Once we have a prospect engaged, once our co-caller has a prospect engaged, you're going to see the what we want them to grab, and it's going to help you too, because guys, there is no such thing as a one call close. That's just for Instagram. That's just for show. They're the follow ups. The money's in the follow up. So if you in your prospecting, if you can get away from trying to close them on the first call and mentally prepare yourself to either book an appointment or a follow up call, whatever it is that you want to do, this script is going to help you do that as well. That's what we have our cold callers do that. So to see if they have other properties. Okay, I think we already looked at that one. I have Brent Daniels script. I think I need to change my script to this one. I like this script more. I've never looked at Brent Daniels script, so I couldn't talk. I couldn't speak on it honestly. So I really don't know what I could say about that. But thanks, man. I appreciate it. Anthony says, great point. What's up, Ross? How you doing? Happy 5th, y'all. Hopefully everyone had a great 4th. I love it. So fortune is in the follow-ups. Entrepreneurs hate following up, though. I'm with you, man. I'm one of them. I'm bad at follow-up, but it is fortune is in the follow-up, like Ross says. But the thing is that that's why we, if your goal is to become the closer, to become the guy that's going to negotiate the deals, you should be working to hire the right individuals, right? Like the first hire should be a cold caller. The next hire, for me personally, I'm a big believer in lead manager. That's the one that makes the things that makes the leads continually being sorry, that's the one that continually is in touch with the leads. The lead manager is a very crucial piece. Most people don't realize that, because they do all the follow up. They're the contact. They're the ones that are calling as a relationship manager. Because for me, I can tell you, I'm looking for that new thing. What is that new thing that I can close? What's that new? I'm always looking for that new hunt. And so, but definitely, follow up till you sell or die. Right? Yeah, exactly. Till you sell or die. That's it. Ken said, Max, Brent script opens up with asking about condition, but last week you said that's not a good way to open up the cold call. I respect that. Yeah, for me personally, I'm not a big fan of that, because it's more logical conversation. I'm first trying to see if you're what's got you considering selling. I mean, like I said, if it's a market, and again, I don't know Brent's script. Brent's a good friend of mine. I don't know his script. I've never used it. I've never seen it before, so I don't want to speak on it. I don't want to make comparisons. I don't know it at all. But personally, we have different philosophies. Obviously, he's very successful. So it's basically one of those things that you have to feel comfortable with it. For me personally, I don't go to the condition first, because it just becomes a logical conversation, because then now you get into condition, maybe price, and now you want to talk about their situation. Sometimes it's a little hard to come back from that. Try to turn that around to now make it an emotional conversation when you just started it as a logical conversation. My goal is always to make it emotional, man. I want them emotionally invested. I want them to tell me what's going on, what's happening. I'm not disregarding that condition is not important, because I know some of you guys in some of the markets you're in, it's maybe it is, maybe that is the most important thing, because you have properties that are built in the 1800s. You have properties that have certain situations. But for me personally, I've never been a fan of that, because it's never about the property. It's always about their situation. I've never done a deal where it's been about the property at all. I've done deals where it's strictly about the situation. So, Ross said, lead managers change your entire world. 100% in agreement with you. Lead managers are amazing, amazing to your business. That's where the deals come from, not your acquisition guys. Your acquisition close the deals, but your lead managers, that's where your pipeline gets full. That's where your deals, majority of your deals are going to come from. So cool. So let's get back to let's see. I like this comment right here. Shows no emotional attachment. Yes, exactly. Shows that word. Let me get back here so I can show it to you guys. Selling that one shows no emotional attachment, so you're detaching them from the property. So obviously, there's going to be situations where you're going to have, hey, I'm not interested. I like to ask, do you have any properties you would consider selling that one, or know of any vacant ones in the area? That's actually good for for the cold callers to ask, just because you want to see what is going on. But here's my favorite part. I know that a lot of times we're always trying to figure out what should a cold caller be asking. What information should we be getting from a cold caller? um or sorry, what information should a cold caller be getting from the seller? And I'm gonna give you to that right now. And again, I'm gonna say this again. This is probably a script that you can use as well right now. Just modify it to fit you, right? um Excuse me. But check this out, right? So let's say somebody hits the cold caller with, "Hey, that's my property. What's this about?" And the cold caller says, "Hey, I'm calling you because we're looking to buy some properties in that neighborhood, and I wanted to know if you would consider selling that one. We're taking that emotional attachment out of there. So now we're moving into, hey, that's awesome. We're gonna move to positive B. Look, I am interested in selling. Let's say the seller says any of these three, right? I'm interested in selling. Make me an offer. How much do you pay? I want X amount. Cold callers are going to get asked that. You got to remember that they're going to get asked that question, just like you are, just like if you were cold calling. And then here's the rebuttal that I have them actually give, which is, hey, I don't know what we can offer you yet. For me to find out we can make an offer, do you mind if I ask you a few questions to have one of my team members call you? So right away, they're removing themselves from any conversations that have to do with negotiations, any conversations that have to do with their situation, the property, anything that's going to try to get them, get a conversation going where it's more than what they can typically handle. What I want to do is I want to remove them from that, detach them. And that's why I have that there, right? Hey, I don't know if one of the cold callers if one of the cold callers gets asked by a seller, hey, I'm interested in selling, make me an offer. What do you offer? How much do you pay? Or I want 300,000. Right away, I want them to say, hey, I don't know what we can offer you yet. For me to find out we can make you an offer, do you mind if I ask you a few questions to have one of my team members call you? Because now they're setting up the callback. You see how fast we got there? So we did the intro. Hello, Max. Hey, Max, I don't know if you can help me. I've been trying to reach the owner of 123 Main Street. Just like you guys have heard me do cold calls here. The next thing is, hey, would you be considered, I'm calling you because we're looking to buy some properties in that neighborhood. Want to know if you consider selling that one. And here's the thing is that they're only going to say a few things to them, right? They're going to say, well, yeah, I'm considering selling it, or make me an offer, or how much do you pay? Usually that's what they're going to tell the cold caller, and they might tell you this as well. So what I want them to do is I want them to get away from that, detach themselves. I don't know what we can offer you yet. For me to find out we can make an offer, do you mind if I ask you a few questions to have one of my team members call you with an offer? So that's the conversation we want them to have. If there's two ways that this can go, right? They can say, well, yeah, sure, have them call me. Is that where we want to leave it at? No, we don't want them to leave it at, right? What I want to do is once they say yes, have someone call me back. What I want them to say, hey, real quick, before I hang up, what should I put in the notes while you're considering selling? You see that? Instead of positioning themselves like, hey, it's a really quick question, right? Hey, real quick, before I have someone call you back, what should I put in the notes as to why you're considering selling? Right now, we're gonna gather some intel, and then we're gonna grab the time frame, right? Hey, if we do decide to work together, how soon are you comfortable selling? And then the third thing is we're gonna ask for a price. We want to know really quick. We just want to know a quick, what their thoughts is on the property. Hey, what would you feel comfortable selling knowing you didn't have to pay any fees out of pocket? Three really simple questions that your cold caller can ask. three real simple questions that your cold caller can ask, and it's a lot. Like it's a lot of intel there that they can get for you and put into the notes. So that way they can that way they can grab obtain that information, right? And put in the notes for you. Now imagine if every that's why I said, think about this. When you are hiring a cold caller, you don't want to be looking for quality. You don't want them negotiating. You don't want them getting into conversations they shouldn't be getting into. So far, the script's been really simple, even to the last questions, right? So, what I would say, it's they're not even putting themselves in a position where, like, hey, I need to get all this information from you. Just hey, real quick, before I have someone call you, what should I put on the notes while you're considering selling? And also, before I have someone call you, if we do decide to work together, how soon are you comfortable selling? Right. The last thing is, hey, once I give them this information, just in case they ask me, what would you feel comfortable selling, knowing you didn't have to pay any fees out of pocket? Think about that. That's a lot of intel for your acquisition guys, right? Or for yourself if you have cold callers. That's a lot of intel. Now, there might be a situation where you have to go to negative C first, right? They're like, look, unless I get market value or sell for the highest price possible, honestly, I don't want nobody calling me. So guess what? We have a rebuttal for that, right? Hey, look, I understand. Sounds like you would only consider selling if you got the highest offer or maybe even close to market value. And of course, the seller's going to say, of course. Now, what we do is we go back to, hey, that's fair. I'll be honest with you. Buying properties for cash and market value is not something we do. If we were able to somehow get your asking price, are you open to selling? Are you open to other selling options? Our cold caller now is getting that intel like, hey, we can, hey, I understand. Sounds like you only consider if you got the highest offer. And, obviously they're going to acknowledge, right? The seller's going to say, yes, that's the only way I would sell. Hey, that's fair. To be honest with you, we don't pay market value for cash. It's not something we do. But if we were able to somehow get you your asking price, are you open to other selling options? And guess what the seller's going to say? Well, what is that? Look, I'm not the one that's making the offer. I'm not the one that's going to do that. Real quick, what should I put on the notes as to why you're considering selling? Now they're going to see if they can get motivation, right? They're going to go through the same questions. So, any questions so far on this? I know we're covering a lot here, but it's very important. I'm breaking the script down. It's not as long as it feels. It's just we're breaking it down by detail so you guys can understand what the thoughts are behind every single rebuttal. Any thoughts on this? I'm going to go through to see what some of your questions are because here's the thing, right? Once we get that information, I'm going to show you guys how the cold caller should be closing the call, including yourself, how you should be closing the call as well too. This might help you. So what do you guys think so far? You guys think that would this be something that you see your cold caller using, or maybe yourself? What do you think about this script so far, this cold call script? I'm going to go back and ask and see if there's some questions on here. Let's see. I used to hate cold calling. Now I'm more comfortable, not loving it, but I know it's necessary until I hire a virtual assistant. Yes. Sandler, there's a rule that says you don't have to like prospecting. You don't have to like it. You just got to do it. That's it. Right? If right now is what you need to do, prospecting, which is cold calling, then just do it. Right? You don't have to like it. It's not something that everybody loves or everybody. Believe me, I think anybody that's on this call, if they raise their hand, they say they love cold calling, there's something really wrong with them. Let's say, yeah, I like asking for reasons for selling first. Helps with motivation and rapport. Yeah, 100%. Exactly. Ross said, I like when you said something along the lines of, I'm not here to be a friend. I'm here to prove my credibility, but actually solving your problem. Yes. Yep. Yeah, I think it was on a call. I mentioned something. I was on a call and the seller was like, Max, I really like you. And I said, hey, I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here for you to trust me and feel comfortable doing business with me and knowing that I can help you. Exactly. That's a very good point, Ross. Sebastian said, hey, Max, looks like we might have another one ready to rock. Let's go. Man, Sebastian's crushing it. Just taking what he's learning here on these free lives, like on the Closers Lab, including this one and Thursday, and he's crushing it. Like he's running with it. And he's in Canada and he doesn't pull list. Remember that. There's no way for him to pull lists. So Ken said this script is genius. Yes, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. If seller does not confirm they are the owner, how long should a VA to push them to get them confirmed or just hang up? Remember, I think I covered this earlier. I said the cold caller should not be trying to convince someone. Their job is just to go through the list. It's not to, again, we said we're in the convincing business. Sorry, we're not in the convincing business. We're in the sifting business. Cold callers should 10x that information, right? And this is what I said. You ever look at, I don't know if you ever look at the modern miners for gold. They have big machines, right? And what happens, the big earth movers, they come and they dump the dirt, right? They dump the dirt into the machines, and then the machine is actually running through that dirt, dumps it in water, and then basically everything that's refined, everything that looks like gold starts to get dumped into a bucket. And so it's still not done yet. The guys that are mining for that, there's somebody who actually comes in and looks within that bucket, and they even take it a little further, right? They sift it to see if what's shining or what's glittering is actually gold. So guess what? The cold caller should be that machine, right? You're that sifter that looks at it at the end and says, okay, this is gold right here. Boom. Cold callers are that machine. They're the ones that are going to run through majority of the information. They shouldn't be spending too much time trying to convince someone or confirm with somebody. So if they don't want to confirm, or if they don't want to just move on, they can say something like, hey, basically, do you have any properties to sell? They could ask that. But if they're talking to a prospect and the prospect is not letting them know like they're the owners, then they should probably move on pretty quick. I mean, I'm a big believer in that, unless somebody else has something else. So Marco, appreciate the fire emojis. Anthony said, I like the script. It's very helpful. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So let's finish this up, the call. So now we got everything we need, right? The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to wrap up the call, right? So what are we going to do? Once the cold caller has that information, one thing is they're going to thank that person. They're going to say, hey, I appreciate that information. If you were me calling you back, what day would you call? Now we're going to schedule a call back, right? Sometimes the cold callers, one's a little bit challenging for them, because a lot of times people won't actually give the cold callers a time in regards to when they should be calling them back. But it's good to ask, right? If you were me calling you back, what day would you call, right? And then what time? Okay, perfect. The next step for me is to pass that information over to my teammate and members and have them give you a call. And that's it, right? And again, this is very, very simplified script for the cold callers. And basically, you saw that we gathered as much as intel as possible. So when the leads come in, so now my goal is I want the cold callers to be generating 2 to 3 leads per day each. That's the KPI, right? That's the key performance indicators. And so that way, now imagine every day of the week, you're getting 2 to 3 leads with these questions asked, with this information, basically being either dumped into your CRM or through email, because you can have them email them to you as well. Now, how much of a difference would it make, if we're getting this information up front, right? If we're getting, hey, real quick, what should I put in the notes to why you're considering selling? Now, granted, right, that information can vary, right? A lot of times they would probably basically give them very vague information. That could happen, of course. But if we can at least get somewhat information without being too pushy, without the cold callers being too pushy, and this is where basically we're going to have them ask them these questions, right? And then again at the end, we're gonna wrap up the call. So so that's it. That is the VA cold call script in a nutshell. Again, it's less than a page. I mean, or a page. Sorry. I know it seemed very long, but honestly, the reason why is because we broke it down. But in reality, it's not. It's not very long. Let me know in the comment section if you guys think like this script would help you, would even help your cold callers to get better on track. It gets away from basically all the things that you don't want them to talk about, and puts them in a position to have success, to actually help get intel and get people who want to sell, who want to raise their hand, or even yourself. You might think you can use this, right? Let's see. We got a couple questions, guys. What are your questions from what I talked about today? The script. It says I could probably change that to let me talk to my partner and I will reach back to you. Yeah, I mean, I would say you can if you want to. Yeah, you definitely can do that. But in this situation, you're not the one reaching, the cold caller is not the one reaching back to them, but you can definitely, because if you're cold calling, you can definitely do that. But if you're gonna have your cold callers use this script, I would steer away from me reaching back to you. So that way you're not, the cold callers aren't the ones that they're positioning themselves to do the callback. So um when are you and Rafael going to combine forces again and teach us liquid gold? Oh man, we're going to be doing next quarter. So the workshop's going to be every quarter, that one. So we're shooting for somewhere either in August or beginning of September. So watch out for that. So that way we can get that going. So let's see. Jose said, are used to close the call line and the seller giving me a day and time and the reason why her son was on vacation, and that's the other decision maker. Use the close the call line and the seller gave me a date and time and the reason why her son's on. Okay, yeah, no, that's perfect, man. That's awesome. I love that. I love that. So you basically said, hey, if you were me calling you back, what day would work for you? And she gave you those days because the son. Yeah, I love using that because it puts them in a position that where they have to think about like, when am I available, or when am I going to make this call, right? When am I going to be available for you to make this call, or for them to make this call? So I love that. It's a great line. I mean, it's if you were me, it works really well. It's one of those things that it's one of those phrases that basically puts them in a position, kind of like a third party story, right? That's kind of, but in this case, it's second party, which is them. So yeah, if you were me calling you back, or if you were me sending this appointment up, if you were me, reaching out to them, because now it puts them in the driver's seat, right? And so basically, it works really well and gets them comfortable to give you a date and time. So Jared said, do you usually get a commitment from the seller before you get them to sign, or while they're signing? Excuse me. Do you usually get a commitment from the seller before you get them to sign, or while they're signing? I'm not sure I understand the question completely. Um, I'm thinking that maybe you're asking, do I get a commitment from them, as a verbal commitment for them to do business with me? I guess it's kind of what I'm gonna take it, Jared. I'm a little I'm not understanding your question fully. Yeah, of course. What happens next. I talked about this in a private group that we have. What happens next has gotten me so many more contracts than actually me closing the person, right? So, Jared, if we were able to do that, right, give you the XYZ, able to help you move, what would happen next? Right? Because now they're closing themselves. Now they're saying, Max, if you can do all that, then I would sell for you. But yeah, I want to get commitments. I don't want them to have I don't want them to have anything in regards to my information, my price, I'm a big believer in that. So Angel said, awesome script, Max. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Let's see. Josue, thank you for the fire emojis. Jose Vida says, Max, you the man. I know you practice and preach Chandler. What's your best advice to improve on I and R field? That's a tough one. It's experience. It's a combination of experience and a combination of knowing when to detach, right? I think self-development and growth mindset comes in big into play with the IR theory. What we're talking about here is called the IR, which is the IR theory, is identity and role, right? Identity means that you are you're a good father, you're a great brother, you're a good husband, spouse, whatever you want to call it. And then the role is what you do. The role is, you're a salesman, you own a business, you whatever you work on, that's your role. A lot of people, what happens is they don't know how to separate that, right? They don't know how to get to a point where if you have a bad day in your role, it doesn't mean your identity is bad, right? Some people have bad days in a row and it bleeds into their identity. So it's tough. It takes a lot of self-development, growth mindset. You have to make sure that you have to continually work on your mindset. Believe me, it happens to me even at this level, right? Where I have to continuously work as challenges get bigger, you have to challenge yourself, right? I've had actually, just recently, it's just a work in progress. Experience, self-development, work on your mindset. It's huge in order to help that. because you're right. You need to, because you got to have a better self-image than yourself, right? Act as if that you actually deserve the things that you have. And the only way you can do that is by working on your mindset. You cannot just think that you can come into a role and learn how to separate those, right? It took me a long time. And like I said, even up to now at this level, I still have to work on that continuously, even more now, because of the things that I'm after, the challenges that I'm presented with. But if I can point to one thing, how to like your question, what's the best advice, man, is you need to continuously work on self-development. That's, when one of my core values is growth mindset. I know it's not there's core values aren't like core value 1, 2, 3, but it's up there, because without growth mindset, all the other ones don't fall into place, because you need to continuously work, on yourself, mentally and then physically as well too. So hopefully that helps. Bradley said, have you altered your buying numbers in your business? Yeah. Obviously we started back in, I would say, like March. We started to shift a little bit, because we know things were changing, things were coming. You have to, man. The thing is that I was at a meetup, sorry, 2 weeks ago or last week, and Sean Terry, who happened to be my coach for wholesaling, he's the one that I learned under and all that. He was talking about how, you need to make sure that you're going back to your buyers, those buyers that are the local buyers, the buyers, and put that human element back in, so you can understand their business. Call them, say, hey, Bradley, how's your business? How things going? How's your business change? What are you buying at now? So you can put that human element back in, right? And then you yourself got to work on yourself, your negotiation skills. You got to work on, your basically, you got to work on, having different conversations, right? It's not just, okay, Mr. Seller, you want that perfect, and and you lock it up and you can sell it to anyone. That's not happening anymore in a lot of the markets. You got a lot of those hedge funds, which I never sold to a hedge fund. I never sold one deal to them. And so what I think is that you just got to get back to adjusting your numbers based on what your buyers are telling you, right? You need to have a total different conversation, and I talked about this a lot. I actually talked about this in our private Facebook group. I broke this down very detailed for you guys that are in the Facebook group. Go and watch that video. I broke this down in detail, how you can get better and how you can, basically go from having a different conversation. You cannot buy 80%, 90% of ARV and then think that someone is just going to buy it. You have to adjust your numbers for sure. Russ, although cold callers are primarily sifters, what do you do when they want to step it up more in the calls, the growth mindset types? Where do you fit that? Yeah, that's awesome. I would make them a lead manager, right? There's got to be a progression of career. You can't, the hardest position that I ever seen is moving a cold caller to a closer. That's always been the hardest thing. And so what I would say, if you have a cold caller, this is why you got to be very observant of the cold callers that you're using, because out of that can come your lead manager, right? So it's called the progression of a career. You want to have that opportunity for them to where they can become, they can go from cold caller or texter / cold caller or whatever to what is it called, lead manager. That would be my next step. Once you see that they dominate or they crush lead manager, then it's up to you whether you want to make them an acquisition or junior acquisition, whatever the case may be. But yeah, you definitely want to have a position for them. They could even become, a cold caller manager, right? As well too. They can train your other guys, and they can make money based on, however you set up that bonus structure. So you got to have an opportunity for them. So I would say for me, first would be move them into lead manager, because, they got potential, they're structured, they're drivers, they're going to, treat that work with, they care about it. Right. And then if that lead manager position is not there, I would say like maybe a manager for cold callers, for your other cold callers, that they can train, so that way you're not involved. Anthony says Sean Terry's the GOAT. Yep, he is, man. Solid dude. I learned from him. Fernando, thank you for the fire emojis. I appreciate it. How can you join the Facebook group? Send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll send you over the link so you guys can join the Facebook group. And then that way you guys can get that. So cool, guys. What do you guys think so far about this conversation? Did you guys like it? Did you guys get value from it? What do you think about the script. Is this a script that you guys can use? Would you like the script, right? I guess that's what I want to ask you. There's some very good questions that you guys had today. What do you guys think so far? Is this something you like me talking about? Do you like? I want to do a poll here pretty soon because Tuesdays are kind of. I'm trying to figure out how I can fit Tuesdays. I know we're supposed to cold call, but man, I think there's a lot more value when we talk about these things because I think you guys can benefit from a lot of this. So I want to make sure, if you guys can comment, what do you guys think we should be, I want to make sure that you're getting value out of this, even though we're not doing the cold calls. I still want to make sure we'll do them. I'm not saying that I'm going to go away from them completely, but I also want to do other things in here. Eventually I'm going to get on and break down deals. So that way, you guys can definitely, what is it called? Take advantage of that. So let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this? How I broke down the script, the psychology behind it, the purpose, how simple it was. Anthony, appreciate the emojis, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate for all your support. I know you're always there. When is the opportunity during sales training? It probably won't be to the end of third quarter, bro. We're starting the masterclass this week. So we're going to do that in by the end of third quarter. So Anthony, thank you again. Caesar, thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Sorry, been listening while working, so I didn't have many questions. I'd like to hear some more cold calling, brother. Appreciate it. I'm gonna mix it up too. It's good to mix it up the way you're doing it. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Jerry said, how do you scorch the earth on to the seller? So basically, if for those of you who don't know, scorching the earth is a strategy that a lot of people don't like. A lot of other people, right? If you're using it. So what it is, let's say that you're going to you're at an appointment, and let's say that you're either the first or last, or you're in between wherever you're at, and the seller starts to flex on you and say, "Hey, I'm gonna be talking to maybe 4 or 5 other investors. They're gonna come and give me an offer, and then I'll get back to you. Or if you want to just leave me your number, I'll let you know if I'm gonna go with it." How many of us been there, right? We all been in that position. So scorch the earth kind of separates you a little bit. I've done it so many times, and there's different ways that you can scorch the earth. A lot of times is that if you call someone, or if they're already talking to someone, or in that scenario that I just gave you guys, where you go to an appointment, maybe you're the first one there, you're the last one. I typically like to be the last one in. Typically, just depends on the situation, because then I'm gonna know what numbers are there, where I can be at. I'm gonna get those numbers for sure. So what I would suggest is that if you are talking to somebody, you want to separate yourself, and this is why a lot of people don't like it, because you position yourself better, right? You can do something like, hey, when somebody comes over and they're going to make you an offer, one of the things you want to look for is see if they have a $5,000 non-refundable earnest money, right off the bat, 0 inspection period days, a proof of funds letter. So a lot of these things, you have to make the seller write it down, or else they're not going to use it. You got to say, hey, do you have a pen and paper? Since I'm not going to be your buyer right now, let me take off my buyer's hat and let me advise you on some of the things that you want to look out for. When you see the agreement, make sure that they have $5,000 non-refundable. Now, guys, it doesn't have to be 5,000. It could be, 500 or 1,000. Because let's be honest, not a lot of us are putting, non-refundable. Even I don't do it in some cases, right? My go-to earnest deposit is $100 always on every single contract. But I'm willing to go even higher or put non-refundable if I need to, right? Not because I want to or anything like that. If I need to. So what I'll do is I'll say that, look, when if they feel pretty confident about their offer, which is great. If you can get more money, do it. I'm going to advise you to look out for these 3 things, right? Which is non-refundable earnest money. You can, whatever you feel comfortable putting, if it's 1,000 non-refundable, or if it's 10,000 non-refundable, don't say 10,000 non-refundable. And then the seller calls you back and says, hey, you know what, Jared, we decided to go with you because nobody wanted to put 10,000 non-refundable. Now you got to be ready to perform, right? So whatever you feel comfortable putting down, that's what I would recommend. The other thing too is the inspection period, right? Hey, this is my inspection period. I'm here. Make sure that it says 0 inspection period days on the agreement, because I am the inspector. I'm not going to call like an official. I'm here looking at the property right now, right? If you do go out to the properties, even if you don't, you can do that over the phone as well too. And then the other one is what I said earlier about the proof of funds letter. Typically, you want to make sure that they have proof of funds, obviously, because if they're saying they're going to buy your house for X amount, you want to know if they got the money or not. So it just depends on the scenario, right? It could be a situation where you're the first one or the last one there. Like I said, I prefer to be the last one just because it gives me an insight of what offers I'm dealing with. So that's a little bit of scorched the earth. So, Max, would you be open to analyzing our recorded calls? Yeah, I think what you should probably do is get on the send me. I don't know if you're already part of the Facebook group. I mean, I would definitely do it on here too. You know what? Let's do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule a session, and then I'm going to blast it out to you guys that are already there, that have been on here. And what I'm going to do is we'll have a session of breaking down the calls. Let's do that. Who would be open to that? That would you guys here on YouTube, where we would open, to analyze the recorded calls. And then what I can do is I'm going to have you come on. Let's do that. We'll have you come on. We'll listen to your call. And then that way we can talk through it. Let's do that. I'll open it up to where the link where you guys can actually attend and get on with me. So that way I can help you. So William said, I highly appreciate you answering all the questions, Max. Of course. Definitely will be changing up some things in my script. Helpful. Perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you, Dave. I'm glad that you got value out of that, Steven. It's that's what I do it for. I wanted to break down that script. I know even though I said it was for cold callers, but I know there's stuff in there that would actually help us, right? Us as the ones that we're doing our own prospecting for sure. So Anthony said, cool. So Anthony's down for that. He definitely down for me to have you guys come on, and then we'll listen to the calls and we'll analyze them. I know, Ken, you're down for that too. So cool, guys. Any other questions? We're coming up to the hour here, so I'm going to jump off. I wanted to walk you through the script, and then for those of you guys, I want to see you guys tomorrow. Those of you guys that are already signed up for the masterclass, I'm super stoked. These are the things that we're going to talk about. We're going to break down in the masterclass even deeper. I'm going to teach you how to create your own scripts, instruct you on how to have a higher success on the appointments. You guys have already heard. I'm not gonna sit here and pitch. The registration's over. Obviously, we start tomorrow, and 15 people took advantage of that, and we're looking forward to get started tomorrow. So if you are going to be part of those classes, of the master class these next 3 weeks, man, get ready, because we're coming with the heat. And I know there's some of you on here that are part of that. So I appreciate every one single of you. If there's no more questions or any more comments when it comes to the script, let me know. So that way, shoot me a DM too as well. Also, I ask that, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, subscribe to it, hit the like button, and it'll help me to reach more people and help more people like yourself. I really appreciate it. And guys, thank you very much for everything. Thank you for being part of the show, for joining me live. And thank you all. And I'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon. For those of you that signed up for the class, talk to you guys later.
He's one of the greatest guys I've ever met. A huge inspiration. The advice he gave me made me like $50,000 in 1 hour. A super fucking human. He just doesn't give up. He doesn't quit. He's one of the most well-known salespeople out there, sales trainers in the fucking country. Very impressive guy. Give it up for my guy, Max Jimenez, baby.